Is he amiable?
Is he handsome? He's single.
I believe so.
Oh my goodness! Everybody behave naturally.
Mr. Collins, at your service.
In an era when marrying a rich man was the most a woman could hope for, Elizabeth Bennet was way ahead of her time.
I singled you out as the companion of my future life.
Sir, I cannot accept you. Don't worry, Mr. Collins. Tell her you insist upon them marrying. Oh, please. You will have this house. I can't marry him. And save your sisters from destitution. You cannot make me.
From Jane Austen, the beloved author of Emma and Sense and Sensibility.
That is Mr. Darcy.
He looks miserable, poor soul.
Miserable he may be, but poor he most certainly is not.
Do you dance, Mr. Darcy?
Not if I can help it.
What on earth have you done to poor Mr. Darcy? I have no idea.
I do not have the talent of conversing easily with people I have never met before.
Perhaps you should practice.
May I have the next dance, Miss Elizabeth?
It would be most inconvenient since I've sworn to loathe him for all eternity.
You may.
He's so rich.
By heavens, Lizzie, what a snob you are.
This fall, Focus Features presents the story of a modern woman
Mr. Darcy is engaged to my daughter. Do you think this union can be prevented by a young woman of inferior birth?
who discovered the one person she cannot stand is the one man she may not be able to resist.
Can you expect me to rejoice in the inferiority of your circumstances?
From the first moment I met you, your arrogance made me realize that you were the last man in the world I could ever marry. Do you not think him a handsome man? Yes, I dare say he is.
From the producers of Bridget Jones's Diary and Love Actually,
He's been a fool, but then so have I.
We are all fools in love.
Keira Knightley, Matthew Macfadyen, Brenda Blethyn, Donald Sutherland, and Judi Dench.
You have bewitched me, body and soul.
I thought she didn't like him. So did I. So did we all.
Pride and Prejudice.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Valentine's episode of the Faithful Critic. We're very excited to be here to discuss this very, very beloved romance movie. I'm here and my name is Dorina.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Steve.
Yes, so before we discuss and before we start and even talk about which movie it is, I'd like to ask, which are your favorite romance tropes?
Can you give us choices?
Oh, sawa. Let me even first say
Science.
what a romance trope is. So a trope in a movie is like a sequence of events that help you kind of know where the movie is going. So often movies or even books or different forms of media eventually like teach us how to watch them and teach us to know what to expect. So like with romance tropes, we have enemies to lovers, we have friends to lovers, we have forbidden love, we have a love triangle, we have second chance romance, we have fake dating, and we have a marriage of convenience. So those are like storylines that kind of, you can tell when the story is beginning where the story is going to go amongst these tropes. So which ones are your favorite?
Ebungoja before you answer. Examples of forbidden love besides Romeo and Juliet?
Forbidden love?
Yeah.
I don't have a modern example. Actually, you know, when you've asked ndo hiyo tupekende imebaki kwa akili.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's
But
others.
I'd say like even...
Was the one in Star Wars the
still
forbidden
love?
Padme and Anakin Skywalker.
I don't know. I haven't watched
Oh,
Star
okay,
Wars.
sour.
Oh.
I feel like it was forbidden. Okay, fine. All right. Carry on.
So Forbidden is your favorite?
I don't know. I feel like it's quite intriguing. It's not enemies to lovers. It's more so in that... But I'd say I'm interested.
So you love rebels when they
yeah.
rebel.
But if there's a very good reason why it is forbidden.
Forbidden love is my favorite trope.
Okay, you stand by it. 10
Like
times
now
down.
in that one, why specifically that one for Star Wars?
Well, I actually don't remember whether it was forbidden, but this is in the... So she's royalty. He is your typical... And I think, actually... So he became a Jedi, which is very skilled.
Okay.
Whatever. Okay, let me not explain anything in that film because that's not what we're doing today. But I think it was forbidden just purely because of that difference in socioeconomic class. I feel like that's...
But they got along from the beginning.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, then it's
That's the reason he
forbidden.
became a villain by the end.
Because he
when
was
she
denied.
No. When they got together, but she ended up being killed or dying rather.
Okay. For me, I think mine is the type that everyone wants you to like, the enemies to lovers. Honestly, I'm a sucker for these. I like the initial conflict. You don't know, you can see there's something going on, but they really hate each other, but really deep down they don't. I love those tropes. Yeah. I think
Yeah, the movie we're reviewing today is Enemies to Lovers. Do you have like a specific movie example? It doesn't have to be your favorite, just one.
Okay, The Notebook. I mean, they kind of start as enemies. She didn't want to give him a chance, and then he kind of forces her. But anyways, The Notebook is another whole other story. But
So my favorite is Friends to Lovers. The one in my mind right now is a movie called
One Day.
Yes, thank you. Yes, but the series is much better than the movie. The series now depicts and shows their friendship, how it grows slowly as they continue, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then finally when the friendship like just comes together and they begin their romantic relationship, it's beautiful. Because I think in my opinion, even the Friends to Lovers, they technically friends, the Enemies to Lovers, they're technically friends. They just like are
Can't stand each
nitpicking,
other.
on small things, but you can tell that they get along well. So just seeing that like with friends and it blossoming to a relationship, it's always beautiful to me.
Yeah, and I guess that also is what you'd aim for in real life. You'd aim for a relationship where you start as friends, not as enemies.
Can I correct my answer?
True.
Just purely for the sake of like to be specific. If I was to have a favorite trope, it would be Forbidden Lovers. I wouldn't know whether I have a favorite trope because I don't watch many romantic movies.
Sorry.
That edit is not relevant.
It's quite important.
Too
It's quite
bad.
important.
You already said.
The viewers, it's important for them to know the truth. Yes.
You don't even know what Valentine's is.
I have no idea.
We're doing a Valentine's. This is a Valentine's episode.
Realizing now.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
It's like, so that's why the movie. That's why you guys are just okay.
Makes sense now.
I know. All of this time, I was wondering why are we watching romance?
But anyway, I understand because there are people who don't like a movie that is purely a romance movie, like what we're doing today.
Yeah.
But prefer like just a general movie with this so happens to have a romance subplot.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Because like Dune, he really enjoyed Dune, and there was a lot of romancing going on.
Was there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Akisikumtetea ilikuwa tu ile
hiyo vumbi alionyeshwa.
No, ile tu yenye hata umjamashu.
I think we even quoted that line for Chani, the one that Liza Nalgaib says, I will love you. Oh no, it's not I will love you, like
you have my heart or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
For like whatever happens, my heart belongs to you, something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. So on to the plot of the movie. So what we're discussing today is Pride and Prejudice. It is a movie that is based off of Old English, and even that's how we got Steve to watch it, because it's a timeline. It's a time like the setting is agreeable. Yeah. So it is based in like Old English, I guess 1800s or 1900s, early Old English. Yeah. So the story revolves around a family called the Bennet family. So the father and mother, and they have 5 daughters. The 5 daughters are all unmarried, and the first 2 are already like in the ripe age of marriage. So the mother is really concerned that her daughters are not getting prospects. And if they don't get good marriage prospects, eventually their land and all their assets are going to be inherited by their first cousin, whom they do not like. Yes.
Yeah, because at this time women couldn't inherit Yeah.
Yes, women couldn't inherit stuff. So, with good fortune, a rich man rents out an estate that was around the homestead. So, imagine say wanaishi ushago, alafu say a rich man from somewhere in Nairobi goes and rents like a big estate that used to be there. So, they're all excited that a rich man is coming. The rich man is called Mr. Bingley. Sorry. The rich man is called Mr. Bingley. When he's coming with his sister and his other more richer friend called Mr. Darcy. So Mr. Darcy is the main character or the charming fellow of our movie. And amongst the Bennet sisters, the 5 sisters will pay keen attention to Elizabeth and Jane. Jane is the firstborn, Elizabeth is the second. So the mom is really, really keen on ensuring her daughters are seen by these 2 gentlemen. Or rather, one of them, at least one of the daughters is going to get married or is going to be seen. And so she orchestrates, and fortunate for her, Mr. Bingley takes a liking to Jane. But Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth start off in a very wrong footing. He claims that she is not handsome, and that's the verbiage that's used in the film. But that is
for some reason, apparently.
Yes.
I wonder whether that's actually Old English.
But it could be.
Yeah, it probably is.
Maybe handsome is
That's a proper way. We kind of changed things.
So how did
Like
that come back to
language
the guys?
evolved.
Can someone find out
Yeah.
for us?
Or maybe it was like the way it's a handsome reward. That was how handsome was used kitambo, and then now we decided to
Exclusively use it
for
to
men.
describe
Yeah,
beautiful men.
handsome men.
Okay.
Yeah. So they start off on a wrong footing, and the movie is basically them trying, or not even trying, them just disagreeing on every single thing until finally Mr. Darcy shows himself as a good gentleman, and Liz is able to see him for who he truly is and not just the perceptions she had formed. And also Mr. Darcy had perceptions he had formed against her because of her upbringing. Yeah, that's in brief the movie. Any other points that you guys would want to add on?
Okay, you've kind of mentioned it, but the movie's Pride and Prejudice because of
yes,
Mr. Darcy was very proud. He felt the Bennets were beneath him, and Elizabeth was prejudiced against him because he was rich and snobbish, and it was sort of true.
Weren't they both proud and prejudiced?
Okay, both of them
Liz
technically were, but
Yeah, Liz was
Liz is
proud. She was.
But
She wasn't
it's
like
just-
other girls. She didn't think marriage was this whole, so there was an air of pride about how she would be putting herself out there.
Oh, like she's above it all.
Exactly.
Yeah, actually that's true. I had not seen that.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, okay. I think that's
And it has reminded me of a clip I saw on Instagram of it's just a funny video of someone trying to do like me if I was in that era, trying to be not like other girls. And it is a very proud, you're cooking cannot be me. I'm out there running and racing with the other men trying to catch the hares. I'm free like the wind. She does all this. She doesn't do it like that, but often women who are like not other girls.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or reading books.
Yes, I'm smart. Oh, you're just there trying to wash clothes. No, I'm in the library reading, trying to get your sense.
And actually she reads while walking.
Yeah.
Which is, how does she read when she's walking?
To be fair, the danger of a car hitting you.
Oh, yeah,
back then,
is-
the probability
is zero.
But she would
Yeah.
have tripped.
Or maybe tripped.
And in the actual movie itself, they reference the book. That's the book she's reading.
Oh.
Yes. So I should have said that the book is based off of a novel that was written by...
The movie is based off.
Yes, the movie is based off a novel. What have I said?
The book is based off a novel.
Yes, the movie is based off a novel written by Jane Austen. Yes. And she's a very famous writer, and she actually writes a lot of those types of characters.
Yeah.
Of women who are, frolicking in the sand and refusing to abide by the rules.
Counterculture.
And we may make fun of her, but she actually is the countercultureness of her
Writing.
Yes, of her writing, and even of the character herself, Liz, is important because those are some of the building blocks that we get to have, I guess, the freedoms that we enjoy today. Like just those small things where you refused to see marriage as the only way in which women can find stature or presence in the community. So just those small things get to where we are right now. Yeah, so what are your general thoughts of the movie?
Oh, you think you skipped the final bit, how they get together, like in how it was expected? I mean, they didn't like each other, but then ultimately they...
I thought I said it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but because, the last time we...
I'm actually trying to be very sarcastic because I know, like the film, you'd watch the film with the expectation of, I wonder whether they're going to get together. And then, well, they do end up together.
It's a romantic movie.
I know,
of course,
okay,
they get
know,
together and ride off in the sunset.
Yes.
In a very, very beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful scene. Yeah, because this is our Valentine's episode. If you are looking for something to watch with your partner, watch this movie. Utapata lines. Usikwe ka Steve. Utapata lines on how to, talk to your girl.
Mystery.
Yes.
I thought this wasn't supposed to be personal.
We're sorry, but we have to say. Yeah, there are very good lines that Mr. Darcy uses. Yeah, I think the one that I'm remembering is not from this movie. It's a line from a different show, but yeah, I remember the one in my head is, "You're the bane of my existence." And it's not in this movie, but this movie also has very good.
Yeah, very dramatic. They do the thing where the lost art of confessing love in the rain.
I am utterly...
They do that.
I am utterly and what?
Okay.
In the rain, the scene in the rain.
Yes, I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to remember, so I guess maybe we'll write in the comments. This was the line we were referencing. You will see how important this is. Yeah.
And because he also says, I cannot, itanisumbua the entire episode, but I think itakuja tukiendelea.
Yeah.
So what are your general thoughts
on how we like the movie? Okay, first of all, I'm the target audience. At any one point in time, I am the target audience for a romantic movie. So I am definitely the target audience for this one. I liked the setting. I liked the Bennet family. And also, you remember how when the movie starts, they're just all over the place. So even actually, as you go on in the movie, you see the Bennets are all over the place when they're eating. They have food all over. There's so much liveliness in their home. And apparently now that is supposed to be a bad thing because now it seems they're classless. But like when you think about it, that's a very good, like imagine Mr. Bennet, the dad, is so happy, so fulfilled to have all this like life and joy happening around him. So I really liked the Bennets. I loved Elizabeth. I loved the character, the actress who plays Elizabeth, Keira Knightley. I can't believe they were trying to tell us that she's not handsome because that lady is stunning. Please. So I really liked her. I think she kind of like embodied that persona that I'm kind of not like other girls, and I'm also I'm slightly scared. Was she even scared? No, actually maybe she wasn't scared about not getting married.
I don't think she was.
Yeah, I don't think she actually was. She turned down 2 proposals, which was
yes,
which was actually quite, because you can imagine if she didn't get married or any of us didn't get married, then all their inheritance would go to their cousin. So the stakes were really high with this one, So I really like the actress. For the main character, I have some.
Do not hate on Matthew.
Oh,
please, no.
Mr. Darcy.
You didn't think he was that charming?
I didn't think he was that charming. He was silent for most of the movie.
Well, you want him to be like a chatterbox there. He wouldn't have been attractive if he was.
Yeah. Okay, I get it, but still. I wanted more. I wanted to see more from him. Okay, maybe they were trying to maintain the air of mystery around him and his class. And,
I think primarily you didn't like his hair.
Oh, also I didn't like his hair. What was going on? Okay, I'm really glad we've grown from whatever period that was. If that was, maybe that was
white,
trending.
so there's no way like Kenyan men would have that
Oh yeah,
hairstyle.
fair enough. But maybe back in the day, in the 18th century, mkiona hiyo hairstyle, guys, check out these movies to check out that hairstyle. Maybe hiyo ndio alikuwa mademu wanaona and they're swooning over, they're fainting over that. No, that hairstyle, no, please. So okay, I didn't like the lead male protagonist because I felt like he was very aloof. He was very unfeeling. Like, okay, he was delivering lines that are heavy, but then I didn't see it on the expression on his face. I didn't see it was maybe like a slight frown. I didn't feel the you know.
He was proper.
Okay,
He was a proper man, gentleman.
Okay, gentleman.
But did you remember when he was pursuing in the Lady in the Rain? He actually made it believable.
Yeah.
but okay, but he was still too stoic for my liking. Or maybe, or actually, fair enough, maybe I'm looking at it from a lens of like movies that are made like in the recent years, and those are more
emotive.
and yeah, exactly. And so actually him being in character is him maintaining that air of mystery and being stoic. So yeah, maybe I liked the dancing scenes, the choreography, how are they? Okay, it's very interesting, like how they knew, you know, the old movies
steps,
where they're going, you know, how
Are you taught? When are you taught to do those dancing steps?
exactly, so that you come and dance in the ballroom parties. Yeah. I thought it was a lovely movie. I enjoyed it, honestly, start to end. The end, I really like the end, but we'll get there. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the movie. I don't know that Steve, you have any thoughts, given that apparently your maleness cannot allow you to enjoy romantic films.
Relax.
For the
If a movie is good, a movie is good.
Okay.
Fine. I don't like a movie that is purely based off a romance plot. I'd be biased towards watching that and maybe avoid such a film. But this is...
Wait, even if it's anime?
If it's anime, it's different. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm biased towards anime.
Okay.
So you just hate human beings falling in love.
Yeah, you know, in anime, there's some comedy attached. There's some... how would I put this?
Okay, almost as if there's a whole genre called rom-com.
No, but in real life,
romantic
it doesn't
comedy.
hit the same way. It doesn't hit the same way. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Human beings are not that interesting. They actually are. I'm kidding. Anyways, so I like this film. It was set in its time, transported us back to the 1800s or wherever that time was, and made it believable. And even the culture itself, it was so clear to see. And the movie named Pride and Prejudice, like that couldn't have been named any better. Or, you know, even if it's based off the book, it couldn't have been there couldn't have been a more appropriate title. Because I didn't just see the Pride and Prejudice in the two main characters. I saw it all across the film. Yeah. Even with Lady
Catherine.
Even with the Bennets, at the end when they admit that they had it all wrong, they didn't know that this is exactly what was going on. They didn't, like the father was prejudiced against. There was a whole lot of Pride and Prejudice, like all around with just about all the characters. So I love that the movie was thematically named. Yeah. The characters acted really well. Keira Knightley was brilliant. She looked amazing for sure in this film. I like Mr. Darcy. I think he was I like that coldness, that aloofness, that, you know, you never quite see beyond the vague expression of I don't know what's in my face, but you'll never know as well, you know. It's an air of mystery that I can adopt, and you know, it's something that would be, you know, it's nice. Anyway, and I actually remember the line.
It is.
You have bewitched me, audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That delivery of that line, I believed it.
Yeah.
His
Okay.
line delivery is top notch. How he may not have shown it on his face, but how he spoke them, top notch. So for me, I generally also liked the movie. It's not my favorite romance movie, but I loved the movie, and I loved moments of the movie. So like specific moments is what made me like, hey, you know, the way that there's a meme that says you lock in. I was like, what is happening at that one? So I liked the scene in the rain. I loved when it ends and he's walking in the fields and there's music, it's swelling, and
the score as well was very European centered.
Yes,
so it fit with
the
the
moment.
movie.
Yeah. So he's just in the field. Keira is like, the Liz is worried. She's scared because she's just been. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert! From this point onwards, we're going to deeply like discuss themes and storylines and even greater, like in more detail than what we've done so far. So there's this one scene in the movie when it's about to end. Keira has just been, or let me use her movie name, Liz has just been verbally berated by Lady Catherine. And so she goes out to the field, tries to kind of gather herself, because Lady Catherine has basically come and said and told them, you guys are poor, you do not deserve Mr. Darcy to marry you at all. You're not just poor, you're poor, you don't have any culture, you like, she says a lot of things. Okay, those are the two that are in my mind. So yeah, so she's very like distressed and goes to the field outside to just like give herself space or something.
Yeah, and she liked to walk places.
Yes.
And I think she seemed more visibly threatened by the fact that it's not in that Mr. Darcy was in love with this person. It's the fact that he would choose this person over
her daughter.
Exactly. And what does that mean? How could you choose someone like this beneath us in this way? Like for her, it didn't it didn't make sense.
Yeah. So Liz goes out to just to take a breather, and then Mr. Darcy approaches her from the horizon.
From nowhere. In the wee hours of the morning.
Yes. From the horizon, and he's walking towards her, and the music is swelling, and then he comes and tells her some sweet somethings beautiful. I think that's.
And then what does she respond?
That's not relevant.
Liz Bennet responds,
okay,
your hands are cold.
Give us your alternative response. That would have sufficed. Give us your alternative response.
Because he proclaims the way because he'd proposed to her before, and she refused it because it was a bad proposal. He hadn't gotten over.
Yeah, and basically in the first proposal, she just says, I love you, and you are beneath me, but I cannot help but love you, so please marry me. Like, what kind of a proposal is that?
Yeah. And this is right through that. So the second one, he's more sincere, and she's come to know that he was orchestrating so many things.
Yeah.
Because at some point, one of her sisters elopes with some guy, which was going to bring shame to the family. Mr. Darcy ensures that they get married, which was good for them. Or what other instance did he help?
With the sister, with Jane. So Jane,
Jane, Mr. Bingley.
Jane and Mr. Bingley. Jane is kind of also like Mr. Darcy in some ways, where she doesn't express her emotion like 100% fully on her face. So Mr. Bingley thought that she didn't really like him.
Yeah.
And so he left. And so because they are close, and then there's a point in which Elizabeth is able to tell Mr. Darcy that no, she actually was interested and she actually did like him. He goes and is able to talk to Bingley, and they come back.
Yeah, so he is responsible for 2 marriages in her family, and kind of
also there was also the misunderstanding with the soldier.
Yeah,
I forget his name, but with the soldier there was also that misunderstanding.
Yeah. So there's a soldier who accuses Mr. Darcy of having taken his inheritance, but in actual sense, he squandered his inheritance and tried to marry or tried to elope with Mr. Darcy's sister, so he didn't like him. But anyway, so she's come to know that Mr. Darcy has done all these wonderful things for her and her family, and she's grateful for it, and now he expresses his interest in her, says he's proposing again, he wants to marry her and stuff, and she takes his hand, kisses his hand, and says, your hands are cold. What kind of a response is that?
It's
what?
A very warm response.
Your hands are cold. What? No.
Unajua vile tu you can.
Y'all are not gonna gaslight me that was a good response.
So this is why I think that was a good response. It's because when we think about dialogue in the essence where I don't want my character to say the exact the exact thing that the audience is saying is thinking she's going to say, and so give it some another layer. So now we already established that these are enemies to lovers, so they have underlying feelings for each other that are just growing and growing and growing as the story is progressing. So when he does this proposal at this point in time, we know that she loves him and we know that he loves her. So them Elizabeth saying I love you is too obvious, so it has to be an action of affection, which is you're feeling cold. See, ukienda date alafu urudi anakwambianga niambe ukifika home same energy.
Okay. No, you're not gonna gaslight me, but okay, I can see your point. Maybe I want them to say it. I want them to be as plain as possible. Yeah? Okay. I want her declaration of love as well. Yeah.
So what are we
between the lines?
I don't want to read between the lines. I don't want to. Give me the line. Feed me the lines.
The lines.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on that?
No. I just completely disagree, but it is what it is.
Hands are cold.
So there's that moment.
Actually, maybe that should be the title of this video. Yeah. Your hands are cold.
Yes. And then the other moment is now finally the last scene when after they're married and now they're doing that declaration of love 100%. That scene is also really, really beautiful.
Yeah. No, that's my number one scene.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So now when we go to discussions of the themes that we see in this movie, marriage is very heavy as the underlying push towards almost every single choice, especially the mom's choice when we're beginning, because during this time we see that if the women are not married, then their station is basically ruined in life. And we even see one character. So we mentioned Mr. Colin, who the Bennet family are basically tolerating more or less because it's just they are relative.
Yeah.
But one of Liz's closest friends,
Charlotte,
actually marries Mr. Colin, and we have this very iconic scene. I think you guys may have heard this audio somewhere on the internet. I'm 27 years old. I have no money. I have no money and no prospects.
I've already become a burden to my parents.
And I'm frightened. So we see that there is that choice where if you don't get married, then there's nothing, for women, there's nothing you can basically do in this world. But fortunately, we are at a time where there's a bit more freedoms and there's a bit more social standing than women have, where you don't have to be married. Your life is not ruined. But we still have those societal pressures.
Yeah.
So do you think those societal pressures are valid? The ones that push us to, not just for women, but also for men? Are they valid reasons? Or that cause people to get to that point of desperation now?
Yeah, I think it's valid because as a woman, you have to be thinking about your biological clock. If you want to have children, then the earlier the better. Of course, God can decide at any age, but as a woman, that's something you'd be thinking about. And that's why maybe in that time for this lady, her age was 27, and I think also the older you got, the less your prospects. Yeah. There's something wrong with you that you didn't get married before. Maybe today we don't have that because you see people getting married older and older and older. But maybe that pressure is not at 27 years old, but it's now coming at 30 something. Yeah. But I think it's a not valid in the sense that it is the right thing, but it's logical that people have that pressure. Yeah. But I don't know whether men have that pressure as well.
Oh yeah, they do. I think it's kind of different. And it's different in a few. So when it comes to the idea of marriage, and I think for many men in this day and age, they are more so primarily concerned with whether they can withstand the responsibility that comes with that whole arrangement or getting into that context. And so there's a sense in which, okay, one would say let me speak for how it looks to just show the contrast. One would say that for a lady getting into marriage early is for sure more ideal, because again, what Ashley has mentioned, the biological clock, and also the fact that she doesn't have to be trisexing like in multiple instances all her life. And again, in this day and age, if that is the situation for a lady, there's a very good chance that also leads to depreciation of like the quote-unquote perceived value that other men would be like, okay, so why is she this old and she doesn't have prospects? Or
I didn't know men think like that.
no, that's actually a thing, I think.
Yeah, but it's
not right for sure.
Oh, okay.
But it's a thing. Because there'd be more wary of like approaching, because there'd be that bias of, oh, hold on. What do you mean that she's not married at this point in time?
Which is funny because I also have it for men though.
Again, it's the same thing as well. And I think for men, the pressure is usually more so being ready to take on that responsibility. I know for sure. Let me just speak for myself. Not speak for other guys. I know for myself.
It's getting personal.
It's getting ready. It's feeling ready in a sense. And so, what does that mean? Do I feel like I'm like a financial pass in a sense, like I can take care of myself plus another person? Do I feel as though I have it all together to sort of bring someone into my life and my space in that way? And so those would be the concerns that many a man would have. And again, that's sometimes overridden by the fact that some people get success early. And then now it's not even a matter of the money. It's actually finding the right person, the right partner. And
that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing altogether. Yeah. And yeah, I think partly it's usually just based off false ideologies we have about what that context should be. It's not essentially self-serving. It's not supposed to be, I'm going there to get something. It's essentially, I am being yoked to someone for essentially my whole life. So I think someone should be thinking about it more so with respect to what can I offer? Why am I bringing this person to my space? Is it just to fulfill my own desires of having someone, their companion, or someone who is pretty and beautiful for a season, and then what? They'll get older and it won't be as attracted to them. So I think it's more so with ideologies that we have are a bit warped that make it.
Yeah, but I don't feel like you've answered whether you have the pressure of time as well.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like now, with that, I understand that because that's now within the space of marriages. Why? But do you have the overall pressure of I have to get married, or can you just opt out?
Oh, I know. No, with the age factor, perhaps not so much. Not so much. I would say. But I don't know. I guess there's always the thing that we tell ourselves that, time is not waiting for you essentially. And when will you be ready if you are going to just keep postponing the quote unquote inevitable? So I think that differs for men, but it's not usually more so societal as it is for women. I'd say there's a difference.
Yes, there's a difference. Yeah, for men it's not as the societal is not
pronounced. Yeah.
Wait, the societal is more than the time. Or ours, the time one is more.
I think it's biological than societal as well. Yeah.
Because I think for us, it becomes, because not entirely up to the point where it was in the film, but there are times in which someone can feel that desperation, or rather that the pressure is too much, and then they may end up making like a wrong choice or a premature choice depending on the station, I guess. And so even just with looking for a partner, it's not the easiest in this day and age, because for obvious reasons. We know how dating and relationships look like in our time. You know, like in that time, sometimes we idealize that time where you could just meet someone and get married. But even that time, that arrangement and our arrangement now, both of them have their own pros and cons. So like, how would you encourage someone who is feeling that sort of pressure and they're at like...
I don't even know that you can encourage, because we are all the three of us in that age bracket. We are definitely, when we speak here, man, it's hitting so close to home.
But as we're still young, because you know there are people who are like probably in the mid-40s, and they're still hoping and they're still waiting on God. So how would you encourage someone so that they don't fall prey to the desperation beat? First of all, if you're already like way older than us and you're holding on, more power to you. Because I'm imagining my future and I'm like, well, ni sawa tutashikilia tu, but yes, it is a difficult walk. It's a difficult wait. How would you encourage someone so that they don't, you know, they're not as neurotic as how the Bennets were and all over the place, but they're content, they're able to live their lives and still seek God and have still the weight beside them.
Yeah, I feel like even answering this question is so... I am not the person qualified. Like, I can't even imagine, because especially I think of the three of us, I'm the youngest. Like, it's I can't even say that. But then like from, I guess, sermons and listening to other people speak, one is marriage is not the ultimate good. It's not the end of, like, your life will not be over if you don't get married. Yeah, like ultimately it's God who is the ultimate good. It's God who you need to hold on to for in all, like, throughout your whole life. So whether you get married or whether you're not, and that's the thing, like, marriage is not promised to anyone, and it's not a reward for anyone for being a good person or being in church all along or
you
something.
Have points. Encourage him too.
No, as in, I'm so unqualified to answer that question. So it's not like a reward, and it's one of those things where it's easy for me to say now because I'm young.
Yes.
So that message will probably sink in deeper for someone who's actually going through that situation. You know, it's easy for me to say, yeah, God can be, when I still have hope and prospects and stuff like that, you know? Yeah. So, but yeah, either way, whether I have prospects, whether I don't, God remains the ultimate good. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, His grace is sufficient for you. He will not, this is on temptation, but yeah, He'll not let you be tempted more than you can bear. He promises that He will be with you. And, at the end of the day, like, you know, I sometimes, this is maybe too personal, but sometimes I watch this show called the John Deloney Show, where he, like, has callers calling in, talking about, like, their relationships, their marriage. And he's always talking about how you should vet, like, the person before you even get into that relationship, because even for him, he's not the kind of person who's, like, willy-nilly about divorce, although he tries to give advice in a secular way, although he is a Christian, but he's not for divorce at all. But then he's always like, you need to really, like, vet the person that you all these behaviors that you keep allowing will become a pattern in future. Will, like, what you agree to, or, like, it's like, if you don't speak up on it, you're agreeing to it you're being
complicit.
You're complicit to it. Exactly. So I don't know whether, maybe it's easy for me to say now, but it may be better for you to be single than in a marriage where maybe the person is not one, God honoring, because of course you'd want someone who understands your faith, who wants to practice your faith with you, who wants to, you know, teach your children the Bible, do all these things, pray with you. So one, it's going to be really hard to be with someone who doesn't understand your faith in that way
Yeah.
and who doesn't respect you, honor you. So yeah, it may be even better off, you're better off being single than being in a marriage where you're like sad and stuff. Okay, not sad, like yeah like you're yeah, you know what I mean. Even the viewers know what I mean.
Yeah, we have had tales of those ones, yes. So how would you, thank you for that. That was actually really good.
No.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
good.
It was,
I don't
I
even
feel
know whether
encouraged.
there's anything I can add to that. I mean, the only thing I'd say with respect to what she's mentioned about marriage being the quotes and quotes highest good, or something that is idealized to the extent that people will want it, no matter, regardless of the context, regardless of the person that they are pursuing or that is pursuing them, So it now becomes people walk into it while being desperate, and that's basically something that can be avoided if you have the right mindset with respect to what you're going into. It's a lifelong commitment. It's not something that, because if you are to make a vow, and we do know what it entails making a vow before God and before men. And what does that look like? It looks like committing to each other for basically the rest of your lives up until either one of you is taken away, or so that's like not just a choice you wake up on or make on a whim, or just because there's some sense of pressure being felt one way or another because of the factor of time, or the factor of, I feel as though I desire this and I want it, and you don't just make that decision. You have to really think about the decision itself and what you're getting into. And yes, I think ultimately it's not a matter of, that can also be like a problem, because someone can end up like really being afraid of what that commitment entails, and that's not essentially the goal. And I think the goal is just to, yes, if you have that desire, that's natural. And I would encourage you by saying that you have that desire just as much as maybe billions of other human beings have that desire.
Yeah.
And there is a very good chance that of those billion other individuals, I mean, maybe you won't get to meet every single one of them, but there's a very good chance that there's one person out there you will get to share in this life with a sense of fulfillment. And and actually it's only upon looking at, I really get encouragement from watching elderly couples, or or like even just recently, when I remember listening to someone's tribute to their wife that had passed, and it was such a beautifully written tribute. And these are people in advanced years, past retirement, and just talking about how they're living their lives then. And I was just like, yeah, you know what, that is beautiful. Forget the we are young and we are beautiful and we are free and we are wild. Forget that, because fine,
the meet cute.
Imagine they don't have the strength they had as they once had when they were younger, but they have an affection that you can see has kind of transcended time. There's evidence to that affection. These children they've raised, who are now grown up and adults and all these things, and they still are able to share in that. And I think that's wonderful, because it's an element of grace, and I think that's something that God grants. So just keep desiring, and I think.
To digress, I think I know why then you don't like romance movies, because romance movies often focus on that initial meet point, and to the point where we are proposing, we're getting married. That's where most romance plots lie in, and therefore we are often left in that high of this is the best couple in the world, and we don't actually get to see them live out their day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
And the day-to-day, I'm sure for guys who are watching who are married can tell us it doesn't look like that high of you guys meeting. The day-to-day looks different. It looks like choosing your partner every single day and choosing to love them every single day, which is what God calls us to do, because that's exactly what he does for his bride. So I think the best romance movie for you would be like, old age type.
I think there was a time that we were talking about this Hofstede, and I was phrasing or like talking about a line I'd seen in Good Will Hunting.
When he's talking about his wife.
They do cuss a lot in that movie. Let's just put it out there. But in this particular scene, which it's this old person is talking to a younger person, telling them about this person they've met, and now kind of juxtaposing it with the life that he shared with his late wife. And what really mattered ultimately. And I think those are some of the things that really encourage me.
And I think there should be more love stories that are grounded like that.
Yeah. Not the high. It shows the mundane and
yes. There should be more love stories that are as grounded.
Yeah, but I'm very surprised actually. He didn't say that he is against all romance movies. I thought when you asked him, you think the reason he doesn't like romance movies is because it leaves you. I thought he'd disagree and be like, the reason I don't like romance movies is because I'm a man. But okay, I didn't hear that rebuttal.
Kuna mtu anatafuta.
Can men watch romance movies?
Grounded ones.
Maybe. And I don't think there's many grounded romance movies, so men can't watch.
Oh yeah, because they're actually marketed towards women. And
yes. But what's the harm really of a woman desiring to just be lifted?
Actually, there's something I've ever read about like romance movies for women. Like you should kind of watch it with an asterisk, because like you end up having these expectations that he will say you're the utter bane of my existence. Maybe anajua ni my dear. Maybe anajua my dear. Ama the way people say Kikuyu men are not romantic. Anajua kusema nimekuletea aka kanyama kazuri, shika hiyo kule. Wewe unangoja bane of my existence. Utangoja.
It's true. I think for me, what I'd as over and above what the two of you have said, even how like I encourage myself is God has shown. So within the Christian family, we have brothers and sisters. Of course, not like related, but we are all adopted into the family of Christ. And so there's so many, just like you've said, there's so many. And so for me, even if romantic love is very specific, yes, and it may come and it may not come, it's just for God to decide for you and your life how He wills it. But that, to me, even with the brothers and sisters and all those people who He has grafted into his family, to me, there is hope and there is affection and there is love that will be shown to you in so many different ways. And you will be loved by your friends, your family, other strangers, other Christians, other believers. You will experience brotherhood. You will experience a fellowship. You will always have company. So for me, remembering that and remembering the community that I have around me, so it's like, I think I'll be good because there's always someone I can lean on. And romantic love is a different form of love. I'm not refusing that desire may still be there, but you will not be alone. He will provide company. So that's how I also encourage myself. So as we move to another question now, with the movie, we see that the reason why they are conflicting as to not getting married is because of class. Class is the main divide. Biblically or within Christian living, what should be the main? I think we've kind of touched on it kidogo, but what should be the main thing that like helps you choose, or is the main thing that makes you pick between one person or the other? And also, where does is class really relevant when you're picking a partner, or should we be like, you're tuachane now, your time?
Clearly, people are getting married later.
Yeah. Yes.
I do remember talking to someone older who's married, of course, about that, and they were like, an observation they've made is people who are raised maybe more in rural setting tend to marry earlier than those who are raised in the urban setting. I don't know, it's been attacked, honestly, for lack of a better word. It's such a foundational point in like it's such a foundational unit of society that you could understand why I would use that word attacked. And attacked by some things that maybe are beyond our understanding. The men, what the message they're getting fed ultimately is, don't chase after a woman, don't pursue, which is completely it goes like it's so far away from what our inclinations are as guys. I think at some point you usually just want, by the way, I have these affections, I have these desires, I need to do something about them, and that's kind of a natural thing that occurs, definitely. So this is now going back to your question about the class issue.
After going on a tangent.
Going on a tangent. Sorry. Now going back to your question about the class issue.
The tangent was far though.
It was so far away. It was like I was supposed to somehow make it land, but yeah.
Yeah. I think nili could distract. I'm sorry. Vile niliongea kuhusu patanisho. So the landing point ikapo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I was supposed to speak about it from the vantage point of a guy.
Yeah.
Who's like being like the emphasis is the only way you can make marriage work is if you're wealthy. And if you have significant amount of money in your accounts, that is definitely tied into class, right? I believe so.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
And I think the message as well propagated to the ladies is as well, I mean, first of all, you don't need no man. You can be empowered to make your own money or whatever. And if you were to get with a man, they have to be XYZ in terms of
trips to Dubai, flowers.
They have to.
You've seen these bouquets that have the notes.
Yeah. So already now that kind of, if that's the message being fed some way, one way or another, in the socials or in the tabloids or whatever, then you can see how it's a problem. And then even you think about, and it's so weird because ultimately it's not the money that makes marriages work. It's not. It's a commitment to make marriage work that makes marriage work, and essentially that can only come from a true understanding of what marriage should be, and that is defined only in the most clear-cut way by what we read in scripture as to the very expression of love as for a man being what Christ embodies, or what Christ is to his bride, the church, and essentially for the church what she's supposed to be for Christ as the woman to the man. So it's essentially, if we are to just think about marriage and understand it from the very foundations, then we do have a better chance of beating this other message that's kind of going around. I do not think that it should be a problem, but it is a problem in a day and age, and it is one of the factors that kind of contributes to the pressures that many men have with respect to marriage. For them, it would be an issue of, am I financially stable, in quotes, enough to do this?
I've just remembered the financially stable. There's this verse in Timothy where it's like referring to rich people, and it's telling them not to be haughty or not to rely on the uncertainty of riches, which is such a contradiction to financially stable.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think every single time, and I have friends who rebuttal me against this when I say that to me it doesn't 100% matter, because they may have the job now, but because the decision is lifelong, the job will go at some point, or something will happen that one of you will not be able to earn as much as the other. And so money is not really certain. It's never certain. Even during these economic times, I keep on seeing this tweet that kind of like sends shivers at my back sometimes. But I still pray for provision. But they say that even you who are in the middle class and you think you're secure or you're shielded from the hard times, sometimes you're just one really bad disease away from poverty. Like you will be hit, you can be hit by one chronic illness that just takes you back, your family, almost 20 years back from the amount of wealth you guys have. So wealth is never certain.
Yeah.
So,
But to answer your question was on what should...
So on wealth, like if that class divide still exists now, but Steve has decided not to talk about the class divide, but on wealth in general, which is fine. It works. Amekupatia 20
No,
marks.
but it's a truth. Like, it may not be as prevalent because, I mean, how many people are in, like, the
Top
the
1%.
upper echelons?
Define echelons.
Echelons is the
like
word
the
of the
top-
day.
Yeah.
What's an echelon? What's an echelon?
No, like
Is that how
top
you say
tier. No, I'm not even sure I say it. Guys, ni kizungu nimeomba huku kwa nebangu. Jirani yangu hapa ndio nipatie kizungu. But yeah, like top tier, because how many people are in, like, it's not like royalty or noblemen or something. Like now I think more of money, whether you have it or not. Maybe that's the class divide that's there. So in a way he kind of answered the question after going on the tangent.
Maybe in context, but hey, imeenda mbali. Wow.
Imefika ronga ikarudi. Anyways, yeah, but again, like to your point, the way you're asking, like, what should Christians be looking out for? I guess we all know from Corinthians that you shouldn't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So yeah, definitely look at whether this person is truly, genuinely born again, and you can see that through their fruit. You can see that through maybe like their devotion to God. Do they actually consider God in their routine life, or is it like a Sunday thing? So stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think just to note, it's good practice, and it is the required practice for Christians to look for that. But marriage is common grace.
Yeah. Actually, he kind of mentioned that, like, marriages work because people commit to making it work.
So it's a good platform to stand in when you guys are beginning, both of you being Christians, both of you sharing the faith, being devoted to God primarily. But I'm sure other married people can also say, once you're in, you have to also commit to the two of you. Knowing God is a good is a good platform, because he's able to, because through the Bible you're able to know how now to do that sacrificial love to each other. Okay, not in that way, but yes. But to
maybe
be
you have it
sacrificial,
at the forefront of your mind when you think about the role that you're getting.
Yes.
You have that idea of, if I am to love in this way.
Yes, but now as a forewarning to those who are looking, if you're just only looking for that and you're not necessarily being conscious of other things around it and how you yourself are going to show up, it does not guarantee. That's what I'm trying to say. It does not guarantee like a successful marriage. Yeah, because it's common. Yeah, it's common grace, and God like wills it to work for.
Yeah, like he blesses the union of the believer and even the unbeliever. Yeah.
So now, we go to our rankings of the movie. Or is there any theme that you guys may have had that you'd like to?
No, I think we've covered most
things,
and the rest, I think viewers should go and watch the movie.
Yes, and if you have any thoughts, you can let us know. So now, on the rankings of our movie with the TFC rankings, we can begin with believability from 1 to 5. How believable was the film to you?
Okay. I am giving it a 3-4. Okay. What I'm saying, it's not believable, but in actual sense, it was like the beginnings of changing how the society was then, is the thing of Liz actually rejecting 2 proposals, given that she also has added pressure of, if she doesn't get married, then my sisters are going to maybe be living in squalor. So I think
squalor.
No.
What's
our viewers know squalor. Our viewers know, you guys. Yeah, but no, obvious no.
Hey, squaw?
Abject squaw.
Okay, is it SQ?
Please,
SK?
please.
SC?
Anyways, shh. Anyway, so yeah, I think the believability was a bit of a stretch there. Again, we'll go to acting. Sorry, yeah.
So believability.
Let's say a 4. 1 because of the setting. I think the setting was quite in context. Of course, they used Old English, kind of. The costumes, and also I would say, in as much as she's mentioned the countercultural aspect coming forth with Elizabeth, and I think the father as well to some extent, because the father was quite.
Oh yeah.
There was a sense in which he didn't want to give his daughter away just to anyone.
Just to anyone.
And he was glad when she declined Colin's
proposal. Yeah. I think you can mention that scene.
Quote,
let me mention it so that I say it quickly. So in that scene, Colin has proposed to Elizabeth. Colin is the cousin who they didn't like. He was kind of awful to them and just awful in general. And then now, the mom is so up in arms because how can you reject this proposal? And then she says, if you don't accept this proposal, don't ever speak to me again. Like it's like you're not my daughter. And then she tells the dad, can you speak to your daughter? And then the dad is like, if you accept this proposal, then don't speak to me. Yeah, so that was
hilarious.
Yeah.
And also how glad he was at the end when it was finally made clear why she was choosing Mr. Darcy. Anyways, aside from that, I can actually believe that to the extent that in every society there are expected to be aberrations, or like for every
aberrations. Hey.
Mina shuku hiyo tu bagini out of retaliation.
No.
Because someone here is used to. Anyways,
we have like 3 words of the episode.
No. Aberrations. You explain.
So for every rule there is something, there is the anomaly, right? There is
anomaly.
There is something. There's what doesn't follow the rule, rather. So for every rule there's an exception. So I do believe that there were exceptions in this society as well. Yeah. Even in that time, I do believe there were, even though not maybe not so many. Maybe it would have been like sacrilege or like heathens. What are you guys saying? A woman should not get married or something. It's like, or shouldn't be married by a certain point in time, or you can decline a proposal because of this and this reason.
Because I think for then it was like more out of duty, not necessarily because of feelings involved.
It was out of duty, even with the Charlotte and Colin, and you could see how Colin was switching between love prospects, like
like
okay, so next.
Okay, fine. Okay, it was like moving on very fast. In which sense, it goes to show it was more about duty
than
So for me, believability would also be a 4, and for me, it will just be on dialogue. I know Old English was good, but was it really that good? Like men who were giving professions of love in that way.
They actually were. There was this time I was watching this video and someone was talking about how there were letters that were being sent from guys like in war.
Yes.
Yeah, and like the writing in those letters like are so unmatched in this day.
Okay,
yeah.
Sawa. So si kuambiwa nimefika home.
Even Shakespeare himself.
Okay, fine. Then I think 4 also in line with what you guys have shared. So on entertainment, 1 to 5.
Again, I was the target audience for this one. 5.
You were very entertaining.
Yeah,
I give it a 3. I give it a 3 purely because the movie wasn't, for me, entertaining per se. Nor do I think it was meant to be entertaining. Like a movie doesn't have to be entertaining for me to find it like
for you to appreciate it.
Yeah. But I was captivated by it. So if there was a captivating scale, even though the movie is entertaining, I would have said this captivated me from the off.
I'm wondering, captivating and entertaining, those are 2 different. Like Nikki Google entertaining sitapata captivating hapo chini kwa synonyms.
I am sure you will not. I'm certain.
So basi for entertaining I will give it A 4. And a 4 for me because I loved moments in the film. So in those moments in the film, those were the moments where I was locked in. In the other parts, I would feel like, okay, this is a bit dragging or not as like punchy, or rather like the build up was not how like I like the slow builds to be. It was a bit, I don't know, the pacing was kind of off just in some places, but when it was on and it was like delivering, those places were really well done. Yeah, so on acting from 1 to 5.
3, Mr. Darcy.
3 just because of one
Mr.
actor.
He was the main character.
And his acting was bad?
Yeah.
Bad
I
in what sense?
didn't-
Please be objective.
Okay, I didn't see the emotion. I didn't believe him.
Is emotion a feature of like good acting or bad acting?
Yes.
No, it's not.
You know that's
It depends on the
it's
DNA.
method
He
acting.
was an alpha type. He
Ah,
wasn't your
okay.
beta.
Showing emotions,
Emotion
crying,
expressing
crying.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay, maybe because I'm being bullied. 3.5.
So for me, acting is 5 all round. All the cast, like everyone in that cast has been in something else, like much later after doing, because this is 2005. And it may not even be like their first movies. I think they're already pretty known. Maybe not Keira, but most of even the lead, I don't think Matthew, so the lead, Mr. Darcy, I don't think Matthew was in something bigger than Pride and Prejudice. But since then, Matthew has been on Succession. Keira has been on Pirates of the Caribbean. There are 2 other actresses and one. So Donald Sutherland, the father.
Was Orlando Bloom in this movie?
Who?
Orlando Bloom.
No, he wasn't.
What was the soldier? What was his?
But then he looks like him, actually.
He does look like him a
He
lot.
does look like him.
Or one of those, because there's usually another person I'm confusing. Orlando Bloom. Yeah,
So Donald Sutherland and one of the sisters were in the Hunger Games. There's someone else. This lady, she was in Gone Girl. What's her name?
Of course, it has
Jane.
flown right off my mind.
And she was in a very controversial movie that I won't say the name. But yes, Jane was also in Gone Girl. So all of them have gone to star in different movies or just show in another movie. And for me, one thing that tells me an actor is good is if I see them in something else and I completely forget that they were in this other movie, because they just disappear into the role. So acting, 5 out of 5. His line deliveries are good, even if
His lines are good. His lines are good.
Yeah, he delivers them.
That's how
Like
I would
even
expect any,
if a random
19th century man
person
to deliver the
said that
lines.
line, I think it would still feel
So it's the dialogue, not the actor.
No, I think it's a dialogue that saves him, that makes you guys think it's a 5 in acting.
I reject.
Controversial opinion.
So now on creativity.
I think it's a 5 because it was countercultural.
Yeah.
Even from the source material, it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Creativity.
I'd also give it a 5.
Yeah, same.
Or
It's a 5.
there or thereabouts.
For me, it's a 5. She was creative enough to get even her book published, Jane Austen, the original writer. And it's as well creative because it's such a timeless story, because it's relevant in 2025. That's almost like, I think, close to 80 years after the original text. So very creative, very timeless story. Recommendability.
I'd absolutely recommend it to my girlies. Yeah. 5.
I mean, well, I watched it, so maybe you should watch it as well.
Begrudgingly.
I mean, well, might as well. Yeah, and then another good thing I liked about the movie is oftentimes in romantic movies you have to have like the sex scene where stuff happens, and so in this one I love that they were very
clean.
It
it was very clean. Yeah.
It is a clean movie. Yeah, I'd also recommend it. So if you're looking for something to watch for Valentine's, watch this movie, listen to the episode, watch the movie, whichever. But yeah, watch this movie. I'd highly, highly recommend it as well. So now on the learning and on the Christian scale. where would you place it?
Different skills. Learned a lot about the culture then. Learned a lot about the tropes. I would say learning is high Christian. I don't know. Unless you have,
Because we've implied upon it.
Yeah.
More,
So
yeah.
there's not so much there. Maybe like a 1 something.
Yeah, I agree. Not a 1, but like maybe a 2, 3.
Yeah, even me. It's not a Christian movie, but I think it has. It speaks on like now the themes that we've talked about, and so we've implied upon it some of those lessons. But on a learning scale, I'd give it 2 or 3 because of the counterculture. Because I think it may have like changed the perception of some women during that time, I guess, in some way. I don't know. And then, so for me now, it's not really as relevant in terms of now the original messaging for the women. But now in terms of that dynamic and how to think about people and not have pre-ideas on them and vice versa. Yeah, I think that's a teachable lesson. And on the Christian scale, it's not a Christian movie. We've implied teachings on it, but it works anyway. Yeah. So, final thoughts?
Go watch a movie.
Final thoughts, Steve?
None whatsoever.
Yeah, and have a good Valentine's Day.
Yes.
To all who celebrate. That's the line nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some people don't. But anyway, I hope you feel loved wherever you are when you're listening to this podcast. If not, we are sending Valentine hugs through the camera. Yeah, to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I can't do that.
I've forgotten. Sorry, this is the new way.
The Gen Z one.
Yeah, love, guys.
Yeah, to all of you. Thank you for tuning in for this episode. Happy Valentine's.